Hey, one of the OGs of the internet I've got with me today. She is moved to Australia. We're going to find out a little reasoning why she did that and reminisce on some of the old days of when we first jumped on that wave, which was the internet.
And I think people thought in those days we were crazy. So let's bring in Deb. Oh, Deb, it's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. And yeah, aren't we crazy?
Well, I don't think so. I think we're like totally normal because we jumped on that wave of the internet, like everyone else is doing now. But we were out there experimenting. Well, anyway, I want to talk about you today. This is all about you. So now, how many years have you lived in Australia? Let's start with that.
12 now.
12 years.
Yeah.
And so I know people that are thinking about leaving America would love to hear, why did you go? I mean, was there some pivotal reason, point in your life?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I always told my husband when I married him was to keep his Australian citizenship, because before we got married, he invited me over and we had this amazing time in Australia, and we went to the beach and lived on this house right up from the beach. And it was absolutely one of the most gorgeous spots in Australia. And I said, well, at some point in my life, I want to go back there and live. So I want you to hang on to your Australian citizenship. So then as time went on and my daughter graduated from high school, we were like, okay, so where do we want to go? I said, I want to go to Australia. I think it's time. So we got citizenship for both of our kids, and we just packed up. We got rid of everything but about 12 boxes of stuff. And the whole family was supposed to go over, and my daughter ended up getting married and having babies instead and staying in the States. And my son and I and Joe hit the road and never looked back.
Never looked back. And that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of things for you, Deb, because I want to really tell your story in just a really short time about what an amazing, gutsy woman. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But we, like I said in the intro, we go back so far that when a lot of people thought we were crazy at the time, we were doing internet, videos and stuff like that. And I don't know. I thought it was fun. And I when I saw this picture, you're asking me some crazy stuff here. Like, that's us.
Oh, yeah.
And we were over at your antique shop. And I remember saying, or if you watch it back, I remember saying, get on the bandwagon, folks. And we had the hardest time telling people this is the future. So it's kind of fun. That video was 16 years ago.
Gosh.
So it's kind of fun now telling people, okay, we were on YouTube. Where were you?
Yeah.
And so do you remember that interview at all?
I do.
Okay.
There was a series of interviews I did at that time. And it was all about, well, what do you think about, the internet and social media? And everybody was like, I don't know.
This is hard.
I think it's the way of the future, but, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. And then also, I remember you doing, I didn't find them, but I know there's some ones where you were interviewing me on podcasting. You wanted to know more about that. And I had gotten into podcasting. And, you would say podcast to people. They go, huh? What's that? That little it was iPods, and you go walking and you listen to these little podcasts.
Yeah.
Huh? And I remember it was so much fun, actually walking down memory lane with you. Now, after that, I believe you went and, well, I don't know if it was 6. Do you remember how many years it was that you auditioned for Internet Millionaire? It was shortly thereafter, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was when I had the Gutsy Woman office downtown, whatever year that was. That was, right when I first opened up that office downtown.
And that's a whole story in itself, the Gutsy Woman movement,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that while I'm looking for your audition tape. Tell us about Gutsy Women.
Well, Gutsy Women, I was sitting up in my office when I lived in Beulah, and I had this like download what Gutsy Woman would be all about. And it was really about a whole conglomerate around using the internet for marketing and sales and media and all of these things. So I thought about it and I worked on it for a couple of years before I actually had my grand opening. And that grand opening was really cool. It was in a cinema in downtown Pueblo, and we had a big screen, and we had the radio stations, and we had it was just, and that was the kickoff for it. And then it was just, getting women in the door and holding their hand and helping them understand what Facebook and websites and browsers. And so I did this whole series of videos, just educating. And what I found was I just really had to hold women's hand in order for them to have the courage to go ahead and use all of this stuff, especially video. That was the big bugaboo. I was like, no, I don't want to do video. And of course, YouTube was going crazy then.
Yeah. Okay. So I found the video. Let's just look at it real quick. It's just going to be a clip of your. It's going to be a clip of your interview tape, which is so cool because think about it. You can, listen, you're talking to your mom, right? In the interview tape.
Which one?
The one for Next Internet Millionaire.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you acted like you were just telling your mom about it.
Well, for Next Internet Millionaire, what we had to do is we had to make 2 videos, and those videos were then judged, and that's how they determined who would be the contestants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there was only 12 contestants, and because of the first video that I said was, "Hey guys, you're kind of taking over. How about we make this fair?" And sure enough, when they decided, it was 6 men and 6 women that were competing.
Oh, wow. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
good for you. I remember that. Yeah, you said, hey, all you geeks,
Well, yeah, because it was a male-dominated field. I mean, that's why Gutsy Women was an idea, was because there weren't a whole lot of women out there like you and me that were actually helping women understand how to market their businesses online.
I remember that. Yeah, and now what the video? We won't even bring in the interview, but it's just you look the same, by the way.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, no, you do. Your long blonde hair and everything. But what was your feelings like that? Because that was really early on the internet, and it was really competitive. Yeah. I remember you saying these little young geeks, and here you were. What, you were about 40 at the time?
No, I actually had my 45th birthday.
Okay.
So I was there the last day of the whole thing. They brought me up on stage and sang happy birthday for me.
Oh,
it was
nice,
my 45th
nice.
birthday. Yeah. And I was the oldest one of the whole bunch.
Yeah, you're the oldest.
I was the grandma.
So talk about being, I mean, this is why I wanted to save this last piece of, time with us together, because looking back on it now, you were the only woman, you were on the internet, all these, geeks were just blazing, and you're out there doing the same thing. I mean, if that doesn't say something, I don't know what,
it was really crazy.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And then we moved on. We both jumped on the internet, and we both just, started, I started podcasting and video casting. And my mentor said, he said, jump on video. I mean, and I remember Gary Vee saying, get on video. And so I jumped on video, and we started the little
I love that
podcast, The Real Grandmas of the Internet. And it didn't last that long because it's hard to, even today, I'm finding it's really hard to get people together.
Yeah.
And then you got those tech issues like Wi-Fi and broadband and blah, blah, blah. And you can't really get everybody. But we did, when we did, I think besides Joanne out in Pittsburgh, who was Techno Granny.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
I do not. Yeah. And she's since passed. But I think she was a trailblazer. I don't think there was anything like this in those days. And my whole thought was, hey, here's Deb, here's me. That was my cousin Sylvia. She had a really hard time coming in. And CJ down there on the bottom, she was a geek. She knew her way around the internet, but she didn't do this kind of broadcasting like we did.
Yeah.
So that was a perfect combo. So we had a grandma that couldn't even get on half the time. CJ, who was a tech savvy, you and I both being out there on video. And I thought it was a great combination. But, you and I both got into so many endeavors in those days
Yeah,
that
we did.
I think, it was just, we had to keep going,
Yeah.
We totally had to keep going. And then you went on. Is there anything I missed? We got the BWN, we've got Gutsy Women YouTube, we've got the Internet Millionaire, we've got the Real Grandmas. Did I miss anything in between there?
I don't know. Just I remember, your office that you had downtown and at the depot.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And
I
that's where you taught some of. That's where I remember the glazed looks on the audience's faces, because you're up there just bam, 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 PowerPoint and I was running the place, so I got a chance to look at the faces of people, and they were like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if we scared people.
Well, we were trying to be kind and gentle with it, and that was the approach that worked for. I mean, between you and I, we really helped a lot of women out getting online. I mean, I even got, this is really a cool story. Just recently on Facebook, there was a gal that came to one of my classes in Colorado Springs, and she was an artist, and she wanted to get her art, her art online. Well, this was, I don't know, well, it must have been 15, 16 years ago. And and she showed up on Facebook saying that she was so grateful to me for teaching her how to do this, because now she's got her art online, and
isn't that awesome?
She's really happy with her life. And so I wrote to her and I said, well, thanks for the mention, and it's just really neat to catch up with you again. And she said, Debbie, I am so grateful to you. It just made me feel so good, after all those years, because you do that stuff and you wonder if you really had an impact
on a lot of people. Absolutely. And that's what's really nice about old age is you can look back and go, oh, look at that, and of course my career went into boogie boarding, a lot of history there. But let's talk about you now. So bring us up to date. So 12 years ago, you went to Australia, and tell what's happened since then. What happened in Australia? What cities did you move to, and what's going on in Australia?
Okay. Well, this is really crazy, but when we moved to Australia, we really didn't know where we were going to live or what we were going to do. I mean, we had a place to live because Joe, my husband is a ski instructor, and he knows people all over the world. Well, there was this guy that had a house in Aspen and also a house in Bonny Hills, which is in New South Wales in Australia. And we put it out there and said, does anybody know of a place we can rent or whatever? And he said, yeah, I've got this house and I rent it out. So if you guys want to pay the mortgage on it, you can move in, and you've got, furniture and a dog and a cat and a car. So we moved in, and then we fell into house sitting. Our first house that was out in the middle of nowhere in Queensland, in the middle of the rainforest, with snakes and kangaroo, and but it was just absolutely gorgeous. And we stayed there for 3 months, and then we were hooked. And we've been doing house sitting ever since. We're still doing it 12 years later. But instead of being on the East Coast, we ran into a 6-month house sit that was on the West Coast. And another crazy story, we were up above Cairns, and the people who lived on the Western Australia were on their way to work in New Guinea, which is why they needed a house sitter. And where we were was only about half hour from where they were leaving on a boat. And they said, well, if you meet us at this restaurant, we can interview you then. And then we're on our way, because they had some other house sitters that were there that could turn over the place. So we ended up going across, it's sort of like the Alcan Highway. It's like you're out in the middle of nowhere for two or 3 days, and ended up in Western Australia. And probably about, I don't know, a month later, I got this job in internet marketing.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So all of that training and everything that I did actually helped me get one of the best jobs I've ever had.
Wow.
As selling digital advertising to real estate company owners.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I wanted to ask you just some of the typical questions I think in America that we want to ask. One is, so you go over there, you're an American. How do they treat, just real quickly, because I got a bunch of questions. How do they treat you as an American? Do they like you or go back home? How do they treat you?
No, they were my experience was most people at that time, I don't know about it anymore,
Yeah.
at that time, they really liked Americans. They
Okay.
love my accent, which is really weird.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Did they know immediately that you were somewhere from
Either
Australia?
American or Canadian. They
Oh, is that
kind of
right?
get those two. It's kind of like we get New Zealanders and Australians kind of
Right.
mixed up.
Okay.
So
So they
yeah,
knew-
and that's the first question they ask. 2-3 words come out of my mouth. Oh, are you American or Canadian?
Oh, that's cool. So that was one of the ones I was wondering about. Now, when they did find out you were an American, I guess I probably know the answer, but did they kind of, like for me, when I moved to Colorado, I was from California. They go, oh, because they didn't want us, and Oregon's that way too. They don't want Californians moving in.
Yeah.
Did they want you there or,
They were very receptive. I never really felt anything like that at all.
Okay.
In fact,
okay, good.
they made me feel, well, my first boss, of course, they have the names of the places where like all the cities and stuff are a lot Aboriginal names.
Oh, okay.
And I creamed them. I wasn't saying them the way they should be said. And my boss kept trying to teach me how to say these because I was supposed to represent their company.
Give me an example. Give me an example. What's an example? Like,
like there's a place we live in Bunbury right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was saying Bunbury, and he was like, no, Bunbury. And then there's another city a little bit north, and it's Mandra, and I was saying Mandura.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That would send a little signal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cute. All right. So you're over there now. You found a job, and so did they? You're taking an Australian's job away. Were they okay with that? I mean,
yeah. Well, the reason why I got the job was because they were about 20 years behind. Advertising real estate online was, basically we were giving the online site away for free up until then. And my job was to actually start charging money for it.
Oh, okay.
And they just didn't see the value in it because they just, and it was already 20 years ahead in the States. And that's why they wanted me, because I already saw the value of it. I saw
You're
a tremendous opportunity they had.
Yeah. And, all right. So great answers. Now, I don't want to keep this too long because I'm going to actually end up putting it over on YouTube, sitting right next to our old interview. But anyway, so you just turned 70, is that right?
Yeah.
And I have this movement that I'm doing, which is called Another Day to Play. And that was based on me turning 77 and saying to myself, I got to go out there. I literally got to go out there. And this, I had retired. I went back one day to work just so I could do all these videos. But the Other Day to Play concept is it sounds like what you're doing. You went and said, okay, life is short. I got to go. I got to do it now while I can. Mm-hmm. And you really fit into that mold of someone that, and that's why I wanted to interview you, because you really fit into that mold. So now today you're 70. Are you still working?
No, I retired officially 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years ago? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So what is your playful time? What do you do?
Oh, well, we got an apartment 3 blocks from the beach. So I love to boogie board.
I saw a post where you said I'm boogie boarding now. You need to start a senior club, because there's women over in California that have senior boogie boarders. That would be awesome.
Oh, and I can walk 3 blocks down and get in the water. I bike. So there's the city that I live in has 3 waterways. It has the ocean and several rivers and an inlet and all this kind of stuff. So I bike around these wonderful places. I swim a lot. I never swam until I got to Australia, and then learned how to do that a lot because there's a lot of water. And here's this gal that was brought up with, nothing but land around. Now I'm like this.
Yeah, you're like a beach girl now, and you're right up the mountains. That is like crazy.
Yeah. And Patti, because of the house sitting lifestyle, we've lived all over Australia and probably seen more of Australia than most people that live here. So.
Yeah, so you could write. Are you blogging or anything like that these days, or?
I'm really into photography, so I have several different websites that have my photography up, and I have a blog that I write my experiences on.
That's one of the best places to find you and your photography.
Well, I have it on Stock, Google Stock. Is it Google Stock? No, it's
Is there a www I can send people to?
I can't remember it. I'll send it to you, and you can put it up.
Okay, sounds good. I'll put it in the description. Okay, perfect. Well, that's great. So you're doing photography, you're going to the beach, you're riding bikes, you're swimming. Wow. And your mom I saw was 90. So you're really kind of following her footsteps, aren't you, with a great lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just blessed with good health, like my mom, and she went through a scare with COVID, and she's back at it again. So I'm just
that's awesome. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got a lot to do while you're up here, and I'm ready to hit the road, but I just wanted to come in and capture just a few moments, some memories. And is there anything else that you want to tell us here in the United States that, you see it from afar now? Is there anything that you could suggest or recommend, or just some of your insights? Anything?
Well, after what we went through with all the lockdowns and everything, I just suggest to people, do it now. Like do it while you can. If you have dreams and you want to travel, or you want to, try something out, or if you want to change, the kind of job that you're doing because you're unhappy or whatever, I'd say do it.
Yeah. That's perfect. And that's right along with where this is going on my Another Day to Play, because that's exactly the thing. We did get locked down, and I know you got locked down really bad in Australia. We got locked down really bad in California. And then coming out of it now, it's like the sun is just, opened up, and it's really our time to go play and figure it out, because if you're young, I think you have to figure it out. We're retired. We can pinch pennies here, pinch pennies there, go here, go there. But when you have to work and stuff, it's really, I think that's what's going to keep us all alive longer. I don't know, if you feel that way or not, but
yeah,
it's really
well. And the other side of that too is that you're never too old to keep enjoying life.
That's right. Yeah. And you're a perfect example of it. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to do this, and we got it recorded for posterity and perpetuity and all that. And so, Deb, I hate to say goodbye.
I know.
Really do, because I've just enjoyed our time together. And don't go away, because I just want to say goodbye to you after we close off the broadcast. But I just want to tell everybody how excited I am to know that Deb was here, and she's 40 miles south of me, yet we just our schedules and everything, but at least we got a chance to catch up today and share some of those great memories that we had. And I'll always, always, always treasure her as a friend way from afar. Sometimes she texts me and it's like 3:00 in the morning. It's like I'm sleeping, but it's just great to have been able to have her. And I hope you enjoy some of the things that she had to say. And for you now, go over to pattiserrano.com and check out my business classes, my health classes. I've got a little merch page with some Another Day to Play items on it. And we will see and talk to you on the next episode.